Um, hello.
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 Yep. So yeah, great. Let's get started. First of all, let me share the doc into the meeting. It's agenda. So feel free to enter name into this doc and in the meet attendee part. Yeah. Great, awesome. I saw a new guy who joined us. Oh, actually I think I saw like Alvaro. Do I pronounce it correctly? Alvaro? Hello?
Hello. Yes, it's not my first time here, but hello. I am aware from Native. Okay.
Oh, okay, cool. Did I call your name correctly, like Alvaro or
Alvaro.
Alvaro? Oh, great. Yeah, that's a great name. Okay.
Okay.
Yeah, maybe we can since we have two new people coming here and also like Zhiqiang Zhou is also joined today. So maybe we can just do a first round introduction, introduce ourselves and
Hello.
hello.
Hi. My name is Zhou Zhiqiang. Currently, I am the Chaos Mesh committer. Yeah, another CNCF sandbox project. It's focusing on the chaos engineering. And this time I joined this OAM meeting just on personal, just curious what KubeVela does. Yeah, thank you.
Yeah, just 2 points. First of all, we also have a Chinese like meeting, which I don't know. Maybe I will ping, maybe you can left your email here. We will send you email inviting you to that meeting. Like that would be more friendly to your Chinese time zone. That's
Okay, thank you.
yeah, that's one thing. And second thing is like I think chaos engineering is also very important for at delivery. Also, we also have another tech meeting in the upstream in CNCF called chaos engineering working group that's also under the app delivery tech, which is a SIG, basically. Yeah, you're welcome to join the tech meeting and discuss like join the chaos engineering part. And we are also gonna talk about the progress on chaos engineering, like in KubeCon.
Okay.
Yeah, I will be more than happy to invite you, like to give me more insights and talk about that.
You are so welcome. Thank you.
So welcome, and also this also a the third person, Theo. Did I pronounce it correctly?
Yeah, it's Theo.
Yeah. Oh, cool.
So
yeah.
I'll do a quick intro. I'm a solution architect at AWS, but I've been toying, I spent a lot of time with service meshes, and I've been toying with an idea for something that could possibly be an upcoming CNCF sandbox project. And I'm actually here to kind of listen in and to see if the OAM actually fits the model the way I need to use it or not, or whether there's something else that we can do. And so kind of wanted to ask when I get my chance at the end.
Yeah, that's very nice. Like which product did you currently like or which group did you currently working? Like is it the EKS group or in yeah, go ahead.
The service mesh is app mesh, but what I'm working on doesn't actually have anything to do with what I do at AWS. I'll save it for the rest of it, but I'm trying to create this idea of a global catalog of applications, but from the more from the WAN perspective. So without focusing on the components of the applications themselves, just kind of how we connect to them. But I can talk about it later too.
Yeah. Okay. That's awesome. Cool. So like first, let me share my screen. All right. Cool. So like just first thing to ask, like I think we are kind of spread globally for like this meeting. And one thing I would like to do, maybe move this meeting 1 hour earlier so that it's more friendly to like to our folks in China, because it's like very late at night. It's like 11 p.m. for now. What do you guys think? Like, let's move it like to like currently it's 8 a.m. Pacific time. Let's move it to like time meeting time change to maybe like 7 a.m. PST. Just 1 hour earlier. Oh, actually, it doesn't matter much because the I think it's gonna be the summer the daylight saving time soon. Yeah, that would matter. That would make this thing reasonable. Already. So what do you think?
For us I mean, we live in Madrid, so here is like 5 p.m. right now. So for us in particular, there wouldn't be a problem. I don't know people in the US, like which time is it right now?
Yeah.
I'm East Coast, it's fine with me.
Cool. Yeah. So let's just make this time 1 hour early. And is it Wei here? So Wei, can you help change the meeting time on the on the repo? That would be awesome.
Yeah.
To update the meeting time. Cool. And second thing, like I think people are also like this. Like, let's talk about, like, I will give an update on the KubeVela project, which we are currently like we already released like 1.1. So we are marching to what we 1.2 roadmap. So I would give a little bit details about that. Like, just besides that, anyone want to talk to anything, please feel free to add into the agenda, and or maybe like just talk randomly. Like, that's fine. Yeah. So I'm gonna give more updates on the KubeVela project, and but at the same time, like, just like if you have any questions about OAM or KubeVela, yeah, feel free to just interrupt me and ask. Cool. Yep. Awesome. Yeah, that's fine. So currently we are, yeah, let's go to stock. Like one thing that we are so since the release of the V1.1, we already like introduced a couple of fun features, such as multi-cluster. Like that's the integration with CI/CD and GitOps with FluxCD, and also like setting up, like, initializing the environment, such as you bootstrap a Kubernetes cluster in the cloud, in the AWS cloud or Alibaba cloud or Oracle cloud, as such, this kind of thing. And also, like, you can do canary rollout and traffic split. These are the most important. You can do a multi-cluster deployment. Yeah, that's also one big thing. You can also like you have a KubeVela as the control plane, and underneath that you can use KubeVela to deploy apps to your IoT cluster. You can deploy workloads to your managed Kubernetes cluster. You can also like use KubeVela to deploy cloud resources such as RDS or Kafka or message queue, like those kind of services. Then yeah, that's kind of the I would say that's the functionalities that's used to support app delivery. And most importantly, this kind of features is not static. I would say not fixed itself. They are highly customized. So for example, and how we can, yeah. So under the hood, we use something called a queue to manage like those functionalities. And let me give an example. Like here, we define a component, and underneath that we only expose very simple parameters to users. Let me find a good example. Yeah, just let me open my editor. Maybe that's easier. Yeah, just like web service queues or such things. Here we go. Like in here we see the template part. Like we only expose that's maybe let me see. Give some good example. That's like yeah, that's an example. Like we use this part parameters. User only need to like care about very simple things like I only need to use some image. I only need to use some port. Like this are optional. They don't need to fill in. And what happened? Like this is too complicated. Let me find something more easy. Yeah. So for example, here user only fill one. You only expose one parameters to users. Like you want to scale the workload to how many replicas. And under the hood, it will do some patch to the underlying workload, such as deployment or stateful set. And that's one example. And if we look at like a progressive rollout, like you can see that user only need to fill in like, yeah, I want to roll out, I want to expose the port, I want to roll out, and that's very simple parameters, I would say. But underneath that, the rollout key template is very, it's more complex. Like this, the parameters, it's very simple, but underneath that, it will do like complicated the scripting and using something called queue to render and also like operate that. I would say operate that. So here it will render a rollout custom resource to like that's more complicated than the parameters. That's what we call we abstract away the complexities. Besides generating the resources, we have more complicated workflows such as let's see an example. Yeah, here's an example. Like this kind of thing, we maybe like, let me give one example. Apply application. Yeah, so besides we use the parameters here, the parameters will abstract away the process that we do in this module. Like basically it will run a couple of steps to do some operations on the resources. Like for example, here we will read the resources and then we will read the config map and apply something, and then we wait the resources to be ready. And this kind of thing will be very easy to use because all the complexities are hidden from users. Actually, I have talked enough about the details. So basically, the currently like all the what I want to emphasize is that all the modules are pluggable, like they are glued together via the queue system. So under the hood, we only like the KubeVela is just a platform. It has no built-in, like I would say, functionalities. Like all the functionalities can be built from the ground up. They are extended from bottom to up, from bottom to the top. So it could be very simple operations such as applying a resources, applying a deployment or something. It could also be very complex operations such as doing canary rollout and we're waiting for manual approval and doing some matrix analysis before we approve it and promote it to production cluster. Like this kind of thing can all be built from the bottom up in KubeVela. So, and that's something we are building right now. yeah, that's one of the point in V1.1 and V1.2. Like in 1.1, we will release a couple of features. As you see, we support the GitOps, like such as ham or customize. Like this kind of things are already built. And we also support like progressive rollout and multi-cluster application deployment. So like in the V1.2, we will support more complex operations. And that's one point. And the second point is we are also building a dashboard. In the dashboard, we will have more user-friendly interactions and a user-friendly experience, so that like people can just click on the menu to say, yeah, this step I will just like, yeah, in this step I will create an app, and in this app it will take from all the, yeah, which is take from all the parameters as you see here, like, but like this will be more user friendly. It will pop up a what we say, that it's a table or something, say, yeah, this is part you want to input your name, this is part you want to input your secrets, and it will be very nice to see. We are building that, but that's one of the thing we are building in the V1.2 roadmap, which is more UX improvement. Building new dashboard. Cool. Yeah, that's all I want to talk about, like, which is what happened in KubeVela in V1.1 and what we are doing in V1.2 roadmap. So
I have a question about this. Do you have any public roadmap that is we can check, or like,
yeah,
for us, for example, it's difficult in the sense of,
yeah, this is
see like what is coming.
Yeah, we have roadmap. Like this is sort of, it's all published in the documentation. Cool.
Okay, I will take a look then, because I was not aware it was here, so I will take a look to it.
Available. Yeah, of course. So yeah, in this meeting, I just want to like talk about it like in person, but like, yeah, everything I mentioned will be publicly available in the documentation as well.
So I brought this up before, but it's coming increasingly more difficult to separate, the OAM core runtime from what KubeVela is.
Mm-hmm.
So, from our perspective, from Oracle's perspective, we were picking up the crossplane runtime and building a lot of stuff on top of it that's similar to what you're building in KubeVela, and we're struggling to understand what we're going to do next, because if we just try and pick up KubeVela as a base component, it has too much stuff in it, right? Your UX stuff, for example.
Oh yeah, of course.
And so I don't know if there's anything that can be done about that, but it's becoming more and more of a problem for us as you guys have sort of stopped, taken over the role of the the RI, if you want to use those terms, from crossplane.
Sure. So just an update on the crossplane like runtime thing. That part is already like we don't maintain it anymore. Like what happened in that runtime, I think we already proposed that in public issue. Like we have moved that inside KubeVela, and we continue to develop that and improve that inside KubeVela. So I would say, so first of all, like I would recommend you to use KubeVela directly. What you want to use is something called Vela core. So that's in the OAM runtime has been moved to Vela core. And this one we call Vela core. It's just a controller that you can install on your Kubernetes cluster, and all the UI thing and all the like REST API and all the other add-ons that you don't want to install, you can completely avoid that. Like you don't need to, you can take that out basically. So that's what we build. We want to have a common and minimal platform, as I mentioned, all the functionalities are pluggable, so you can take it out and put in yours as you want. That's basically.
So is Vela Core a separate repo? I don't see it.
No, it's in the KubeVela repo. Like currently, we sort of put everything inside one repo to manage that. But like you don't need to care about the repo because we release that separately. Like so in the Vela core we release it as a chart, and inside the chart you can pick what you want to install and what you don't want to install, and so as a
Okay, I'll dig into there. I didn't realize that you had been that careful, so that's good. Thank you. And
Yeah.
I'll look more.
Yeah, sure. Install minimal version using home chart. I saw this one question. Well, that's the API. Probably not the core. The core is still inside the like all the code are here, but like we build it separately, like because like all the things are built in different different like binaries and images. So what we mentioned before, like the minimal platform, the common platform is built as Vela core. Yeah, so you can put those.
So that
go ahead.
core API is just the implementation. It's just the definition of the spec, and then the Vela core is what implements the controller.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, correct. That's correct. Yeah, thanks, Theo. Yeah, for helping answering that question.
I mean, it still makes our life a little difficult because Oracle's policy is that we have to build from source everything that we depend upon. So we have to build all of KubeVela and then only care about parts of it. But
so one thing we can talk about is if you want to use only the core, we can discuss like what to maybe we can have write down your requirements, and then we can see like how we can cut the core into a separate repo or separate directory. Yeah, that if you so we are very open to that because like we also want to make the project like modular by design.
Right. Okay. Let me collect my thoughts and write something down about what would make our life easier.
So making separate. Yeah, so Kevin to down a yeah, we're open to that, right? Like we want to. So and see if new project can use yeah, that's a great question. What does this thing is?
So that's the thing I was talking about earlier, and I don't mind if there's nothing else on the agenda. I don't mind at least talking about it. Or again, I have a little bit of imposter syndrome, first time actually coming to one of these, so feel free to tell me to shut up. But the idea that we had is, and I'll give a little bit of history. I hear a lot about this concept of a global service mesh, where everything kind of talks to everything. And I feel like none of the service implementations truly address that because it's an incredibly hard problem to solve. If you're going to have a service mesh that uniquely spans everywhere, you have two different models for that. One is every microservice everywhere is part of the same mesh, and you have to have very distinct rules as to how those are governed. Or, and we treat this the way that we've done networking, and we say, at some point, we're not necessarily trying to connect local services together, but we're trying to connect global services together. And with that, what I'm trying to do is, and right now it's at the research stage, I'm trying to find a way that we can use a model that says, here's all the applications that exist globally, either for a public enterprise or for a private, something that can run, you know, in data center, on cloud, whatever the case may be, but that can be distributed enough and identifies all the applications that a particular customer can run. And when I say all the applications, that's probably the biggest piece of it that there is there, because, you know, there's, when we think about APIs, this goes back to SOAP days from like 2004. And there's still customers that are running that. It's not necessarily cloud native, but for the customers that are moving to cloud native, they still have that legacy technology. And this is the place that we should consider to include that with it.
I see.
So what my thought process is as it relates to OAM was, I was trying to find a spec or a model that would already lay out the application from this perspective and be able to say, here's my application, here's some brief information that you need on it, and here's how we go about using it. And I do have a list of things I've looked at. Otherwise, I'm like, this sounds very similar to Backstage, I know. And every project I've looked at is focused on including everything in the gateway. And what I'm trying to do is see, can the OAM model be, and I know it's saying OAM model is done, but I can't stop myself from doing it. Can OAM be used to represent applications from a global spec where the kind of the sub resources of that would not necessarily be how the application is built, but what are the sub resources inside the application that you can access? So if you think about a REST API is just a collection of services. How we get to those services and what those do have different paths and routing that exist for them, and that's fine. And those same APIs can actually exist in more than one location. Let's say that we're running the exact same API in 2 different clouds, for example. The spec is exactly the same. The implementation doesn't matter, but we want to know that we can use either one and kind of what the impact is of that, and being able to identify that all the services are running in both clouds, and here's the endpoints to get to them, but really it's just this application.
Yep.
So,
yeah. Cool. Go ahead, Tia.
So, and I promise I'm getting to my question here. So I'm still trying to read through the model, and I've spent a lot of time coming over it. For what I'm looking at, because I wanted to be able to identify the application and kind of the endpoints of an application, and then the services, and then the functions within them, I wasn't sure if the component in the model actually can fit that same definition of a service, and kind of if there was a strict definition of component, or if it's just kind of anything that we need it to be.
Yeah, it's this, I think you're on the right track. Like actually that's the original, like that's the reason why we create like OAM and KubeVela, like these projects. We have also saw the same problem that like in Alibaba, in open source, and our customers, because like everyone's protocol and application is like their model and their protocol is different. What's even worse, like you mentioned, there are legacy like spec for that, and they are still using that, so it's incompatible with the new cloud native or Kubernetes patterns, right? How can we handle that? That's why we also, like, besides we use we build a new abstraction, not only to simplify developers' life, we also need to encompass those legacy solutions. That's one of the goal. And like for example, like in the IoT case, like there are, you know, like different protocols and different like model in the edge, yeah, in the IoT clusters, that and yeah. So that's why we build OAM to model everything as the same thing, so that we can have a unified API exposed to the cloud, to our new ISP vendors, right? No, not ISP. Independent software provider. Yeah, it's ISP anyway. Yeah. But like what I want to point out is that like with OAM itself is not enough. It's sort of like we need both OAM and Dapper. There's a new project called Dapper. Did you know about that? We can, yeah, this project.
No, and this is partially why everyone keeps telling me new services, and it kind of sounds like this, and I don't know what those are. So that's why I came and asked.
Yeah. So like originally we collaborate with Microsoft to create two projects. One is OAM and one is Dapper. Like for OAM and KubeVela, it solves the application model part. Like you mentioned, we have a service catalog that we need to model all those applications so that like we can have a unified API to manage them, right? That's how you put all these frameworks and applications in one place so that you can have a global context. On the other hand, like all these different applications, and they have different protocols, and we need to unify the protocols itself. And the protocol part is unifiedly defined in Dapper, like via the Dapper protocol. So basically, like Dapper is more upper layer in the developer like framework part, and OAM is little like lower layer in the like operations and application managed part. So with these two projects like collaborate together, you can have this kind of global mesh, like unifying everything.
Yeah, I think that's the idea behind the global mesh. I think is a little bit early, but really what I'm struggling with is just identifying, because nothing, and I'm even looking through Dapper now, it's focused on how the application is kind of built and deployed, and kind of identifying like, you know, this has a message queue and a database and those sort of things, at least the pieces that I'm seeing of it right now. What I'm trying to say is at some point, I want to be black box. I don't want to know how an application runs. I want to know that there's an endpoint that I can connect to and there's a service, but I want to know nothing about the service in order to be able to use it. And to simply start, just identify what all of those are. I feel like once we identify that this application has multiple endpoints that span multiple locations, which have all these services which run, then we can start to look at things like how we do per service DR, per function DR, and start to make those logical rules as to how we're going to move traffic back and forth should we need to.
So for this part, it's totally doable via like the OAM, because like you just model everything as in the same API via the standard like application model. Like you mentioned, you want to know like how many endpoints or service exposed and how many regions it spans, and like this kind of information are all available via the application model. Yeah, that's totally doable via OAM and KubeVela. But like, yeah, the reason I mentioned Dapper is like, knowing that it's not enough, you also need to connect to it, right? By connecting to it, you need a standard protocol as well. And yeah, that's where that Dapper comes.
But I guess I'm not seeing. Dapper is saying you have to use a specific protocol in order to make it work, and I need to spend more time with it. And thank you for letting me know about it in the first place. So you say that the location is built into the application model, and this is, I was toying with it a little bit as we're talking about the different application scopes, I'm guessing. Okay. So just being able to define like different network scopes for the same application, we kind of spelled out for there. What about for like, does the component model actually fit for services? Like if I defined an API that had 5 resource and methods, or 5 resources and they were all get, and let's just say that there are 5 different services on the back end. I want to also be able to identify those 5 services and compare those with, are there 5 services that are running on a different API endpoint that possibly serve the same thing? So think about the case like the GitHub API, for example. GitHub has both a REST and GraphQL API. If you're going to look up a repository, then you could use the REST or the GraphQL API to look that information up. But you're effectively running the same service on the back end in order to get that information. I'm trying to also adapt a model that can work with that type of correlation.
Yeah. So for this part, you probably need to like, I'm not quite familiar with like what kind of the standard protocol is, but yeah, that's out of our scope, but and out of my knowledge as well. Because like that's like upper layer part, you need to define standard protocol. Like I think like GraphQL is trying to do that, but like currently most of the protocol I would say is still HTTP based, right? So people are building REST API as the standard protocol.
Yeah, well, and you know, REST is just an HTTP API with a convention. GraphQL is an HTTP API with a different convention. To that point, gRPC and SOAP and WSTL are all HTTP APIs with a different convention. Those conventions, what I'm finding, are similar enough in nature. And that's, again, that's the piece I'm trying to find. And I probably need to update this proposal with kind of what my envision is for the model. That might help a little bit more just for exactly how I'm trying to fit this in or make sense. But I'm also trying to include like the schema and the definition as part of that searchable information.
Yeah, honestly, to me, it doesn't. Most of the people here think about OAM as you know, a platform thing, right? So somebody shows up with an application and it's modeled in OAM, and we take it and deploy it, right?
Yeah,
it's a runtime thing, and I certainly understand what you're getting at with from a service advertising discovery perspective, and you might be able to, you know, use the model to do that, you know, with the various scopes and traits, and, you know, advertising endpoints and capabilities and that kind of thing. Interestingly, there's another guy that's here a lot, Brian Tidd. Is it Tidd? You might want to look back in the notes at this DICOM stuff that he's proposing. Or he's talking about a lot of the same things from his perspective, to sort of advertise and discover medical imaging endpoints. So you might get some value out of the spec that he wrote, but I don't know. It's just a slightly different perspective than I think many of us have. It's not necessarily invalid, but it's a little you know.
Yeah, that's the problem. Is I'm trying to make sure a model doesn't already exist, because if so, I don't need to recreate the wheel. But if it doesn't, then being able to say with confidence, yeah, none of this really fits, and here's why, and then saying, okay, let's create a new model for this. It's kind of where I'm at. Okay.
Yeah, definitely take a look at what Brian did, because he's I think trying to solve the same problem with OAM.
Right. So Theo, maybe you can ping Brian privately. Brian, like, let me give. Yeah, it's the Brian from ACR.
Okay.
Is it that Brian?
Yeah, that I was. Is it? You can look at the meeting notes and maybe like attend next time, or we can like use this meeting as the, you know, as the base to discuss like this kind of questions, right? Everybody care about.
Yeah, I don't see another Brian in there, but yeah, I can reach out to him as well.
Yeah, yeah. He regularly like attend this meeting, so you can also use this meeting as a chance to like discuss your problem with him. Because I think I was like this problem scope is very big. It will involve OAM and also like many other parts. So
Yes, this is the hard problem to solve in my eyes.
yeah, of course. Cool. Yeah, that's very interesting. Yeah, let me put it here. Oh, actually, you already put a link, but yeah, let me put it here as well. So that's like this is very big. Routine blind. Solving similar problems. Cool. Yeah. Yeah. Theo, anything you want to add? Theo?
No, I don't think so.
Okay. Yeah, I think we don't have anything left in the agenda. Like, just anyone want to ask any questions or want to talk about anything here in this meeting? Otherwise, we can just end this meeting. Yeah, thank you for this, like for the coming the meeting, and enjoy this week. Cool. All right. See you guys. Bye bye.
Bye bye.
Thank you. Have a good day.
Bye.
Mhm.